Hey guys, it's Yorkie here with a video to say thank you for getting the channel to 2,000 subscribers. I hit the milestone last night, and yeah, I just wanted to say thanks very much guys for watching the content, sharing it, leaving any comments for discussion, all that sort of really good stuff that just helped the channel to grow, which it has quite tremendously in the last couple of months. The channel growth has kind of been a little bit insane compared to the past. And to kind of celebrate that, I wanted to do something which will hopefully be relevant to a fair few of you, and that is drive project cars with an Xbox 360 controller. Whilst it's not coming on Xbox 360, it'll be on Xbox One and PS4. I just wanted to give you guys a sense of what it'd be like using a gamepad. So, as you can see, we're at the Nurburgring GP Formula 1 circuit, coming down in towards the first turn. Almost getting taken out by the Z4 there, but just about managed to see him coming as he came onto the side of the screen, and I've avoided making contact with him. Just trying to navigate through the first couple of turns and see if we can come out the other side fairly cleanly, which it looks like we're just about managing to do so far, and getting a fair bit of a wiggle on there on the rear end, having to flip the analog stick left and right real quick just to try and catch the slide from the car, which I felt was coming. And yeah, it is interesting trying to drive with an Xbox 360 pad. I have not done it in so long. I bought my Driving Force GT wheel about 2.5 years ago, so April 2012, around then, and whilst I've been playing on my system, I've been using it ever since. I haven't gone back to the Xbox 360 pad, because prior to getting the wheel I was using an Xbox pad for my racing games. But yeah, I've been using the wheel ever since. Obviously, going around a friend's house playing Forza and stuff like that, I have used the pad then, but it's probably been at least a year since I've actually touched a 360 pad, as most of my friends have moved on to PC gaming now as well. So whenever we've gone around theirs to play games in a LAN gaming event, it's always been games on the PC. So yeah, very rusty then. Not anywhere near as smooth as I used to be with a controller, but it was still quite fun and an interesting experience. I'll get on to comparing the overall experience in a bit, comparing it to the wheel. But first, I'm actually going to talk about what I'm actually aiming to do here. So obviously I'm driving with a 360 pad. I'm driving around the Nurburgring Formula 1 circuit as I use the right analog stick just there, just to see what it does, and it orientates the camera around the car, as I found out. So I moved it to the left and moved it down just then, as you can see, thinking that it could possibly make the make you look behind, but it doesn't. It just orientates the camera around the car. But anyway, yeah, driving around this circuit, as you can see, we're in a Audi R8 LMS Ultra. We're in a GT3 race, something that I'm very comfortable with. The difficulty is on 88%, which I found is just about right for me around this track and in these cars. There's very good balance between AI pace, their consistency, their aggression, and basically how good they are in terms of race quality, going side by side and that sort of thing. So it's on 88% at the moment difficulty, and as you can see, we're doing 6 laps, but I am aiming to try and finish in the top 10. That is my aim for this video, using the pad, see if I can manage it. As you can see, the guys up ahead are disappearing as the car does give a slight wiggle there going into the Schumacher S's, and I did have to actually back out throttle. It's something that I found with the pad, it's actually quite difficult to modulate your steering inputs, as it can be quite intense. As you can see there, that was more just me getting up on the outside curb and the rear wheels braking traction. Basically backed way out of the throttle just to make sure that I didn't end up spinning, and as you can see, that's going to put me in a fairly what's the word, a position where they could quite easily attack. Vulnerable, that's the one. Fairly vulnerable position to the guy behind as we're coming into the end of the second lap. As you probably guessed by now, track detail is absolutely fantastic. The cars look absolutely fantastic. The sounds are absolutely fantastic. I'm actually going to shut up as we come down into the first turn here. I love that howling sound. Yeah, this car does sound really, really good. When you decelerate and shift down the gears, it kind of, as you heard, the engine just kind of howls away. It sounds fantastic. So the guys getting behind, or the guys behind getting very, very close, as you can see in that rear view mirror. I'm just losing time and time and time, and that is because, oh, that's because I'm driving with a pad, more or less. Like I said, I usually drive with a wheel, and the difficulty is about right. As you can see, the front left is now starting to overheat, and that is because of the amount of steering input that goes into, basically, into the car when using a pad. Obviously, when you're using the full range of the analog stick, it turns the wheels quite heavily within the car. Whilst it's probably not as much or much further than I would when actually driving with a wheel in some turns, it puts that amount of steering lock on fairly early. As you can see, it turned in a little bit earlier than I wanted it to then. That's because that input kind of goes in almost straight away. Whilst it is slightly procedural, it's fairly fast, and with that you do get a fair bit of scrubbing of the front wheels, and it can understeer as well. And then, as you can see just there, you do also get some little bit of unwanted steering input a little bit too early, and because of that, it's here we go, losing 10th place. Got a fairly bad run coming through the last chicane. Letting him go down the inside, but I wanted to try and do the undercut here, but I just couldn't quite get on the power quite early enough and maintain the gap, as you can see. But it looks like we may start closing on him slightly, coming down towards the first turn, but we're not anywhere near close enough to actually make a move to try and get the place back. But we did come fairly close along the apex point of the corner, but obviously he was taking his normal racing line. I was able to drive out of it fairly smoothly, so I've actually gone and lost 10th place, which means I'm failing the challenge right now. But we'll carry on. We'll continue to press. As you can see, he's pulling away. But yeah, like I was saying, it puts in a fair bit more steering lock than I actually like to, and it puts it in a fair bit sooner as well, which usually means you kind of scrub the front tyres, and it also means you understeer the car. It can be quite difficult to actually get the car into the right place. As you can see, both front tyres are now starting to overheat because of this issue. And actually driving with the wheel, I did exactly the same race afterwards with the wheel. Same sort of setup, same time of day, you know, same conditions, same AI difficulty, same car. And I actually tried it both in cockpit and also in third-person cam, like I am doing so here with the wheel, and not once did those tyre indicators down in the bottom right turn red to basically say my tyres were overheating. They did get fairly close. I was watching whilst I was inside the car. I was flickering through the Motec display screens, and I did notice that the tyre temperatures were getting fairly close to becoming overheating, but they didn't actually turn from green to red, which I found fairly interesting. Obviously with a wheel you can put in the amount of steering angle that you would like, and you can be a fair bit more, you know, gradual with the turning inputs coming into a corner. Like I said, whilst the actual degrees of wheel turn that I'm putting in is probably about the same from when comparing the controller and also the wheel, it's just a bit before that and afterwards. So when you want to unwind the wheel, when you want to, like when you're turning the wheel, it's not quite as smooth in some of the corners, and because of that you do lose yeah, your tyre management sort of aspect of the game. It can be very difficult to do it. I imagine it can be done if you're very smooth with the gamepad, which I'm not right now. So I imagine it can be done for some of you guys. It's just a hell of a lot harder than a wheel. Also, you lose a lot of the force feedback that you get through the wheel, and the force feedback is absolutely fantastic in this game. You can feel all the detail in the road. You can feel the bumps when you're brushing a curb, that sort of thing. When basically you just like the very edge of your tyres kind of on the curb, you can feel that. You can feel the bumps in the road, and obviously you can actually feel when one tyre goes slightly loose. So say on the Nurburgring when you're going over a bump, 3 wheels may be connected to the ground, but one lifts off ever so slightly. You can you feel that through the wheel. Sure, it goes It doesn't go as light as it would if you're kind of, you've lost all traction and grip, but you lose a tiny little bit of that weight just to kind of simulate that. And the actual tyre model is absolutely fantastic as well. If you put in too much steering input and the tyre actually breaks away from its traction, it's very close, and I think I'm actually going to lose 12 position here. Try and get back in the slipstream to see if we can try and regain the place, and I'm going to actually be fairly forceful coming down into this chicane, braking a fair bit later, managing to slide up the inside. I gave him a slight nudge. He's got to cut the chicane though and try to retain the position. He's on the inside here, and I'm just he squeezed me out onto the outside, and I may potentially lose another place. Note the R8 behind me doesn't quite get a run, but I'm now in the SLS slipstream. I've got slightly better acceleration than him as well. He'll have a higher top speed, but we don't quite manage it down this straight, so I'm now in a position to make a move down the inside coming into the final lap. That apex of the corner is mine, giving a very slight nudge to the outside and managing to retain 11th place. I don't want to lose anymore. I've already failed the challenge. I don't want to fade it miserably. But yeah, like I was saying, yeah, the force feedback is absolutely fantastic. If you put too much steering angle in with the wheel, you can actually feel basically the tyre lose grip and kind of snap away and start understeering a lot more. It's really, really good, and the experience is it's 10 times better with a wheel. If you can afford one, and I've been looking at getting a wheel, and you're looking to get project cars, definitely do it. Definitely get a wheel. Whilst it is fun with a 360 pad or a controller, if you're playing on PS4, I imagine obviously you'll be playing with your PlayStation controller. And likewise with Xbox One, you'll be playing with an Xbox One controller, not a 360 pad. Obviously get the game, because it is a lot of fun using it with the pad. It's just the experience is a lot more sim-like and a lot more enjoyable and challenging actually using a wheel. As you've seen through this video, I've completely lost pace to the guys up in front of me. In the same conditions using the wheel, I was able to get 5th, 6th position and able to keep fairly comfortably with the guys in front. Like I said, I didn't overheat the tyres once. The car felt absolutely fantastic, and I enjoyed the game ever so very slightly more. It's something that I'm used to, and also with the track IR. Yeah, it really is a great experience, and I definitely recommend it highly. If you're looking for suggestions for a wheel, if you're on PC, definitely the Logitech Driving Force GT wheel. If you're starting out and don't have too much cash, great force feedback, really reliable. It's a wheel that I started off with, and it's a wheel that comes highly recommended for those who are starting off with wheels. As for the guys on the consoles, I'm not too sure. You just need to keep an eye on basically what the wheel situation is. At the moment it's just the Thrustmaster wheels that are available, but hopefully as we get closer to release date we'll release more info about that. But yes, thank you very much for getting me to 2k subs, guys. It's great to see a lot more of you joining the channel, getting more involved in the discussions and the comments that we have on the channel. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, please do so, at Yorkie065. I do post random crap, have other discussions with subs, other YouTubers and people on there, and also obviously if there's news about an upcoming video, I'll post it on there as well. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Hopefully I shall see you soon. Take care.